I think we would all agree that today, as we look at society, we look around us, that we see more division and more tension and conflict than we've seen in a very long time. And as a result of this, it spills over into organizations, and people now have to work together, and they're carrying these differences, these tensions with them into organizations. And so we've got to talk about this. How do you work through this? And I want to show you a model that I think will be very helpful and will really kind of speak to what we're experiencing today. One of the things that I believe is one of the greatest problems in our society today is the myth of what I call the unity-uniformity distinction. And what that means is that there are far too many people today that believe that in order for there to be unity, we have to be uniform, that uniformity is the basis for unity. And so therefore we have to be alike, we have to think alike, we have to look alike, and if we don't, then there can't be unity. And that creates a huge problem, because to enforce uniformity will do nothing but drive a deeper wedge between groups and people. And tragically, the idea that we have to think alike in order for us to have unity is going to be a huge problem, because when you live in a kind of a melting pot of ideas, when you live in the 21st century with so many different perspectives and views and philosophies of life, and now I'm requiring uniformity as the basis for us to get along, it is a huge problem. So this model speaks to this, and I want to show you kind of how this works. If this was, I'll ask a lot of times groups that I work with, if this model right here represented an organization or a group of people or even a relationship, what word would you use to describe that group or organization? And I'll get words all the time like chaos or scattered or lack of direction, and that's exactly what that is. That'd be very fair. When I get to this model, people will use words like this, like organized chaos. You still have these arrows going everywhere, but it's kind of housed in a bigger area. So it's somewhat organized, but it's still chaotic, people will say. Or they'll use phrases like in transition, right? En route, as if this model then becomes a stepping stone to this model. And this model, I will invariably get words like this: organized, alignment, focused, productive, high achievement. Virtually everybody views this model as the goal, that this is the model we want to get to. But the problem is this model is actually not a good model. And the reason is because this model presumes this. It presumes that uniformity is the good, presumes that uniformity is the goal that we should be shooting for. And the reality is this is the best model that we need to appreciate and learn to be able to work within and embrace, because this model allows for unity, but with the diversity of people within there. It's the diversity of personalities, ages, genders, perspectives, backgrounds, experiences, ad infinitum, all the differences that exist having to work together. But what holds them together are three key things. Number one is a common and compelling vision, something that all of them can look at and say, that's the goal that we want. We all agree with the end goal of what we're trying to achieve. Being able to create a compelling vision that's clear is so critically important for people. Next, you have to have a set of core values. Not just these things you slap on the wall and nobody ever talks about, but I'm talking about core values that is part of the daily life of organizations, that you're reinforcing them consistently. In a relationship, it's not two people trying to make each other out to be just like each other. That leads to greater division. But it's learning to appreciate the diversity of the two people in the relationship, but allowing your core values to inform you on how to treat each other with respect, how to communicate effectively. And finally, you have to have a clear mission for each person here. Each one of them has a different responsibility, and being able to identify what that is absolutely critical. Identifying roles and responsibility. It's like the human body. You've got the hand, you've got the feet, you've got the eyes, you've got the brain, you've got the heart, all very different in their function, in their mission, yet all work together to achieve a common vision for the human body. That's what we have to learn to appreciate. So this model will produce things like stress and tension and conflict because of the differences, see? But that's okay, because stress and tension and conflict are the preconditions for growth. The only way you grow is by embracing the differences and the stress and the tension that comes with it. A body that is not stressed is a body that atrophies. An organization, a group, a society that does not face the challenges and the differences from each other is a society that will not grow effectively. So we need to learn to embrace these challenges because they make us better. That's been the history of our country. That is the history of great organizations, that they face disruptions and they recognize that disruptions actually help them to grow. And so today, the disruptions that we're all feeling with the coronavirus, yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it creates tension, but it is a disruption that when we get through it, we will be better for it. So no different with the people that we work with. Facing the differences, recognizing that you will be better, they can be better, and that organizations as a whole can become better and more productive in the long run if we learn to embrace this model and not require this model in order for us to achieve unity.